I'm Yolima Otalora, founder of Interlingua LLC. We help our students to speak and communicate with confidence in Spanish from the very first lesson. I have been living in Arizona for 26 years, and I have taught Spanish at different schools and at the University of Phoenix. In that process, I realized that in the academic world, except for English, languages in the United States are no value as in other parts of the world. In most cases, they are dealt with and taught in a mechanical, disorganized way and without the possibility of deep meaning for the student. So I set out to transform that focus. I developed a linguistic-based program that teaches how to speak and love the language. Additionally, I think that in extending the use of Spanish and a better knowledge of our language and culture contributes to the construction of a more democratic and diverse community in Arizona. I wanted to create an authentic school with no hierarchies, where teachers could proudly celebrate and expose the Latino culture and allow our students to access and admire the richness of our Latin American history. Thus was born Interlingua, the best language school in Arizona. For 24 years, Interlingua has helped police officers, firefighters, doctors, social workers, teachers, adults working in many fields, and children in private and public schools to speak Spanish. I'm only going to talk about human language. Well, animal communication is a topic for another talk. The language. Human language is a congenital and universal cognitive faculty. That is, it is not learned. It is present in all human beings. Language is not just a tool. It is the way by which we know what is happening in our mind. Language is a set of symbols. It enables expression of thoughts, desires, and affections through verbal and nonverbal signs. A language can be learned and forgotten, but the capacity for language is the essential characteristic of human being. Language is the physical part of the abstract thinking. Thanks to the singularities and complexities of language, we can know what we are like, but also it is language that forces us to find others. Because we are social beings, we live in community, and we need to relate to each other. Through language, we connect, negotiate life, and have human relationships. The possibilities of human relationships are many, but we could simplify them into 3 categories. Primary relationships. These originate spontaneously, per se, without interest or need. For example, family ties, tribal ties, etc. Reciprocity relationships, illustrated in the phrase, "You scratch my back, I scratch yours." These relationships are generated out of interest and need. Domination relationships that are based on a principle of authority, superiority, or hierarchical. These relationships depend on the organization of power and production. Fortunately, they can change. Languages. Thanks to the development of human language, today there are between 6,000 and 6,500 languages or tongues spoken in the world. Some languages have a large native population, such as Chinese, Spanish, Hindi, and English. Spanish is an important and growing language. It is the second most spoken language on the planet as a native language. It is an official language in 21 countries. Most of the Spanish-speaking countries occupy contiguous territories. This gives the Hispanic territory possibilities of cohesion and high degree of strength in communication. Spanish is the third most used language in the internet and the second most used in the two main online social networks in the world, Facebook and Twitter. Spanish in the United States. The Spanish language has been continuously present in the current territory of the United States since the 16th century. The United States is the country with the largest number of Spanish speakers, where Spanish is not the official language. There is 58 million speakers in the United States, not counting the more than 8 million Spanish students. The component of the Hispanic population in the United States makes official institutions such as government, the FBI, Medicare, and the National Library of Medicine, etc., to make both English and Spanish accessible. Since 1999, Spanish has been the official language, next to English, in the town of El Cenizo, in Webb County, Texas, a milestone in American history, becoming a symbol in the fight for the official recognition of the Spanish language in Texas. Statistics on the Hispanic population. According to the 2018 United States Census data, there were almost 60 million Hispanics, 18.3% of the U.S. population, not including the population of Puerto Rico or the Hispanic undocumented immigrants. Spanish as an economic asset. The contribution of the Spanish-speaking countries to the world GDP, the gross domestic product, is 6.9%. In 2016, the purchasing power of the U.S. Hispanic population was $1.4 billion US dollars, and in 2021 is expected to reach $1.66 billion. In Arizona, regardless of the political climate and despite efforts to stop continued growth, Spanish resistance and its expansion in the United States exhibit an unstoppable rise in many states, such as Arizona, where Spanish has been present and dynamic for more than 4 centuries. Today, 20.7% of the inhabitants speak Spanish, and Latin culture is part of the daily life. Being bilingual offers many financial incentives in the workplace. Learning any language is an effective process. It is an experience that offers a lot of stimulation, curiosity, and fun. It's a fact that learning another language has been shown to make dementia less likely to occur in people. Learning Spanish is an instrumental way to discover and explore culture and understand and process reality from another perspective. Speaking Spanish is a plus, no matter the objectives. Negotiating, traveling, accessing the Hispanic market helps to participate in political decisions that affect our community. Interlingua is a woman and minority-owned local small business. We have 24 years of experience. Our school has a methodology. It is a comprehensive linguistic-based system program that facilitates learning. It starts from simple and progress to the complex using words that are common between English and Spanish, such as the alphabet, syntax, and morphology that allows to share thousands of cognates, which are words of Latin and Greek origin that we share. Our teachers are native speaking professionals, helping you to develop the confidence you need to speak independently and successfully from the first lesson. Our lessons are taught in total immersion. The student speaks 80% of the time at his or her own pace, but progressing rapidly. The focus is communicating little by little until the student acquires the ability to think and speak in Spanish. The vocabulary of the classes is simple, ordered by categories. It is always taught and practiced in complete grammatical structures, affirmations, negations, questions. Thus, it inserts itself into the discourse of the student's daily life. Time is not an obstacle to learning at Interlingua. We have flexible schedules and ways to learning, individually or by group, in person, or online, in a virtual platform, soon with a teacher, or on a virtual platform without a teacher. I invite you to watch this 5 minutes video to understand a little more of what our classes are like, and then we will have a few minutes for Q&A.
Our immersion program is not just about teaching Spanish, it is about giving students a second language. Having a second language requires students to use different parts of their brain and to help to think critically. Children that learn a second language become better problem solvers, excellent thinkers, good listeners, and are more thoroughly versed in their own language. Spanish is an obvious and rational second language choice. It is the second most frequently spoken language throughout the United States and in international communications, with more than 500 million Spanish speakers worldwide. The method is highly effective in developing each student's ability to understand, speak, read, and write. Students learn through listening, understanding, repeating, speaking, creating, reading, and writing. Students also gain an appreciation for the differences and similarities in countries where Spanish is spoken and its different cultures. Class structure. The class structure is review for 15 minutes, new information, 25 minutes, games and activities, 15 minutes, for a total of 55 minutes. Syntax. The vocabulary is taught and learned in a syntactic context. Complete sentences using the syntactic cycle.
Cabeza.
Presentation.
La cabeza. Es la cabeza.
Affirmation.
¿Es la cabeza?
Sí, es la cabeza.
Negation.
¿Es la mano?
No, no es la mano.
Selection.
¿Es la cabeza o la mano?
Es la cabeza.
And question word.
¿Qué es?
Es la cabeza.
The context allows the student to take rotating linguistic roles, being the emissary and the receptor, plus thinking and producing messages in Spanish. Basic linguistic principles. 1. Sauzur's interiorization of rules. 2. repetition of the language acquisition process. 3. Chomsky's universal grammar. 4. Bloom's taxonomy. 5. Chomsky says language is culturally transmitted. 6. Alive and dynamic. Ferdinand de Saussure was a Swiss linguist and semiotician. Language has rules that must be mastered, interiorized, and be able to apply in speech for future information. Students learn the rules of grammar while speaking. Repetition of the language acquisition process. Our program reproduces the communication process already developed for the students. Chomsky's universal grammar. The theory suggests that linguistic ability becomes manifest without being taught, a feature all natural human languages share. There are properties and values shared by all languages, nouns, adjectives, verbs, etc. Bloom's taxonomy. The knowledge learned must be applied outside of the classroom. Our students do not repeat, but remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, create, think, and speak. Chomsky said that language is culturally transmitted. All our teachers are native speakers. They share a passion for teaching, and all have been properly trained in Interlingua's teaching method to expose our students to the language and culture. Language is alive and dynamic. Students use the language to create their own sentences, to express ideas, opinions, needs, and feelings. Interlingua's program emphasizes conversation and communication about real life. We focus on providing the necessary tools to transform information and vocabulary into knowledge. Resources. Students have the ability to learn and participate in the classroom. Students have materials and exercise books. Students have access to the online class. Our detailed immersion program yields excellent results and guarantees our students to be able to develop the basic structures to speak Spanish and to have continuity through the years to come.